Welcome back, guys. So in the previous video we discussed the basics of finance, and I apologize for the wrong spelling of finance. One of you pointed out in the comment section. Yeah, I know. Even in Great Britain we've got people that are terrible at even spelling how words are meant to be. But anyway, so we did a brief explanation of what your finances should be, and by this time, or by watching this video, it tells me that you've got rid of all your debts, you don't have any more liabilities, you've covered your expenses, so you've listed those expenses and you're living below your means, you're producing assets, income producing assets specifically, whether it's shares, stocks, bonds, real estate, property, whatever have you, commodities, bonds. You've got yourself a plan. You're one by one building assets and having goals, so 10x goals in particular, like I was talking about, because if you don't have them big enough, they won't give you the motivation and encouragement to progress forward. Because the reality is, the reason why people jump off and are not excited and not willing to push is because they don't have big enough goals. And that's why I'm always excited every day. That's why I'm more than happy to produce a video for you guys. But getting back onto topic, last episode I also give you what we're going to be discussing about next time. So you covered all that. You don't have any more debts. You now have the money to invest. And you're now thinking, oh, it's too risky for investing. How about I save to just save in general and, just accumulate money? I'm going to tell you why that's a bad idea, and why also relying on the government for your retirement plan is also a bad idea. So let's discuss why saving to just save on its own is a bad idea and you're losing money by saving. Number one reason why you're losing money by saving is due to inflation. Now, why is there something called inflation? Well, it's mainly going back to 1970 when America went off the gold standard. Now, American dollars are the reserve currency of the planet. So, the reason why it was a big deal of going off the gold standard is because there's a finite amount of gold. You can't create gold out of thin air. Well, you technically can, but I mean, not to the amount which we're printing money. And as soon as you go off that, now money is not backed up by any particular kind of currency. It's just people's opinion of how much this is worth. So technically your money is worthless if we all today decided that the money is basically worthless. It's just down to opinion. So due to America or American dollars being the reserve currency of the planet, any financial disaster will happen anywhere on the planet. You can go back and look in history. So the Weimar Republic, the main reason why Adolf Hitler got to power, so many damn things, and how do you protect yourself against inflation? Well, you need to earn more than than the actual inflation rate, which is 3%. And inflation is down to printing the money. So it therefore makes the actual amount of money worth less each time. So if you look back to the Roman Republic, for instance, they constantly added different elements to their coins, which therefore decreased the value and therefore made the coins worth less over time, because that was their form of inflation, so they printed off more money. And they also chipped off the coin. So the reality is you will be losing money whether you are saving or not saving. And if you're saving, your purchasing power will decrease. And not only will your purchasing power decrease, but the actual things around you will go up in price. So if you've ever been to McDonald's, in the UK it used to be £4.59 for a normal Big Mac meal. Well, now it's £5.09, and that was only in the short few months that I was there working at McDonald's. So that tells you a lot of how fast inflation can happen. and how much it can mess up your finances, because not only will it decrease the value of your currency, but decrease at the same time the value which you can buy. And also another reason why saving your money in the bank is also bad is because banks are lending out loans. So you'll be so tempted to use your credit card, and not only that, for every dollar you have in the bank's lending out like something like $10. So the bank is gaining an increasing amount of interest, and technically that your money, is going to people that have the biggest amounts in their banks, so millions, billions of dollars in their bank's accounts, and it's making them rich. So while you've got your money saved, you're actually making other people rich. So what do you need to be doing? Once you have money saved, you only need a certain amount, and if you're living below your means, you only need an emergency fund, so of $1,000 or £1,000. That is all you're going to need. And if you're living below your means, and I mean living not far from your work, maybe in walking distance or as close as possible, you're using your car as little as possible, maybe even potentially cycling, and you're renting a flat, you're also leasing a car, and you're just living below your means, you will not need very much. So this money will go into investments that will produce a higher rate of return than 3%, and it's guaranteed that your investment is more worthwhile if it produces more than 6%, and in fact there's even greater rates of return if you put in the effort. So if you do trading, for instance, you can get like 10 to 15%, and it goes up more because the more time you invest and the shorter time frame, so you can see more fluctuations. Not only that, what else should you be investing in? You should be investing in assets that adjust to inflation rates. So if you own property or real estate, as it's called in America, you can adjust it if you own it or rent it out. It will adjust with inflation rate, and you can also adjust it if you have a tangible asset like a business. So I named McDonald's there, for instance. They move their prices along with inflation, and not only that, taxes. So that is why you should not save to invest, and that is why you don't save to save, but you save to invest. And like I said, guys, I've got small examples because I have not got enough experience in investing, but this is why you need to be doing it, because the more days you leave that money in the bank, the more it's going to go down in value. And not only that, you're making other people richer. So stay focused, get things done, and we'll see you in the next video where we'll finally talk about health and what you should be eating for health. So stay tuned for that, guys, and peace out.